guys, that's your Racial Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there today. So Alien vs. Predators is here. Like everybody else, it caught me off guard. Listen, I took one day off. One day off uploads yesterday. I took my kid to a Celtics game, had a blast, and then I wake up this morning and I see the news, just like so many of you guys. This is not a full-fledged traditional IP, or at least like the Alice's and like the Turtles and whatnot, where we have the event dungeon, but we do get a free legendary champion, and it is Alien vs. Predators. Personally, I am really excited about this one. How do you guys feel about it? I feel like they've been nailing it with these IPs. I'm not like the #1 Alien vs. Predator fan in the world, but I'm a casual fan, I would say, and I think they hit the nail on the head in terms of the aesthetics here. I do have big questions regarding the faction choice of the alien himself. I mean, Xenomorph here. Dark Elf? Is he an elf? I'm sure if I read the lore, they'd have some cockamamie explanation like the Turtles where they just pop down in barbarian land or whatever. Anyway, it's one of these two-phase champion chases where we get a legendary champion after 7 days. This goes on until the 8th of January, the champion chase, that is. So we get his 2-star perfect soul at 14 days, and then eventually we can get all the way up to a 5-star split soul for Xenomorph. We'll talk about Xenomorph. Very intriguing champion, especially a lot of love on the last video that I did where for my bro's B-Day, I bought him everything I could on a brand new account. So I just started a baby whale account and I bought everything in the shop. Some surprising results there, honestly. But I can't help but to think about my brother, who I just used a download link to get him well, I used to use Eleanor, but now they have Narma the Returned, who just got a huge buff. So he has Narma, who's all about poison synergies, right? So he has Narma, and he's now going to get this, the alien, right? And then he has Tawana Rock, and I'm like, dude, where were these new deals when I was starting this damn game, man? I might start another second account for myself just to get this combo and get Kale. I'm talking like poison on poison on poison. I digress. Let's talk about this dude, right? And I'm going to have a video where I'm going to buy Predator later on today, so be on the lookout for that. I hope to get an expert guest alongside of me. I'll give you a few guesses who that might be, to give his thoughts on the meta, on the end game meta viability of Predator as well. Is he worth the $40 or $60? You can make an argument no champion is, of course. But anyway, speaking of dollars, by the way, small digression. You may have noticed, you probably didn't, I haven't had a shard opening in weeks here, which is a long time for yours truly. I've been trying to go very light. I am going for this fusion, but I've been trying to go very light because I know that Black Friday and Cyber Monday, they usually give some of the better deals that they give. So if you are a spender, you might want to just have that on your radar as well, especially, you know, now that they're going to give a paid champion right before that. Anyway, look at this dude. You know what? I look at him one look and I think Dark Elf. Like I said, I'm sure there's some explanation here. Well, they even mentioned Demon Spawn, which I feel like probably would be a better fit for this dude. But Dark Elf, I do think they're one of the worst factions. Not the worst, but they're up there with Orcs and Ogre and Trimes as one of the weaker factions out there in the game. Do you guys agree with that? So, hey, any decent champion, I'll take him. His base stats on Xenomorph are pretty bad, pretty lousy. We're going to see gameplay, by the way, for the first time. One of the perks about being late is they just released some gameplay, so we can watch that as well. We have a poison on the A1 for 2 turns. 3 poisons if the attack is critical. I love that. So accuracy and crit rate are going to be your top priorities. I'm going to give you some build advice too. I will have a video in 7 days when I get them on my account. But accuracy and crit rate are going to be, you know, pretty paramount. I love that he brings his own perfect veil on the A2 and his A3. So a lot of protection for an otherwise very squishy champion here. On the A2, he has a 2-turn stun, right? Attacks 1 enemy. First of all, just really quickly to wrap it up, 3 poisons on A1 are really nasty. 3 big versions of poison. Very good for Demon Lord, Clan Boss, Dragon, even Ice Golem situations like that. Because the Ice Golem, most players know, but for new players out there, those big auto attacks that he has once his HP drops below certain thresholds, those aren't triggered by burns and by poisons, right? Only direct damage from skills. So he can help you in areas like that as well. He has a 2-turn stun on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. His books are manageable. 3 books on the A2, 2 books on the A1, and then 3 books on the A3. Not too bad. 2 books on the passive, though. I hate when they sneak those in there, but it is what it is. Not too bad. I would book this down to get it on the cooldown. He has a 2-turn stun. I mean, there's not that many 2-turn stunners out there. There's Ginro the Stork, there's Taurus the Fierce, there's Tuok the Wanderer, there's Killian the Lucky, there's I know Tyrell conditional. I know there's a couple of them out there, but there's not that many. 2-turn stun on a 3-turn cooldown is really good single target control. These debuffs can't be resisted if he's under Perfect Veil, which he is quite a lot because of his A1 is A3. And then a True Fear on all other enemies, and that can't be resisted if the champion's under Perfect Veil again. So really good control there, right? Because he's kind of a one-dimensional poisoner. He also has Infest, which we'll talk about in just a moment. He's kind of a one-dimensional poisoner, albeit a good one, right? But bringing this control gives him instant viability in areas like Centranos or Doom Tower, waves and stuff like that. So I like the control there, the Perfect Veil. We do want accuracy on him anyway, even though he does have that nice, irresistible, added benefit under Perfect Veil. On his A3, attacks one enemy 2 times, 15% more damage for each poison debuff on the target. Now, don't overlook that. My gut, we don't have his multipliers out yet. I just checked all the websites. But my gut tells me this could absolutely shred, even though he only has a 1365 base attack. I could be wrong, but getting 10 debuffs on a boss, I mean, obviously they're not going to all be poison, but let's just say 5 debuffs. I mean, it's pretty damn significant. 75% extra damage is big, and that's only 5 poisons on the target. So 150% extra damage if we can load 10 up there, right? Now, that's not really feasible, but you guys get what I'm saying. You can book it out for even more, a 30% extra damage in addition to that. So who knows? TBD on this ability. It doesn't blow me away, but it could be a sneaky, hard-hitting ability. On his passive, Caustic Blood, right? Whenever this champion is attacked, has a 25% chance to make it 50 when booked, of placing a poison on the attacker for 2 turns, okay? Similar to Taragi the Frog, right? Kind of similar to Uros the Soul Cage, albeit a 50 instead of 75% chance. I like this. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked if the attack is critical. Interesting. So obviously in PvP, you incur a lot of critical hits. In PvE, less frequent, but still nice to have. If an enemy's under a poison debuff placed by this champion, decreases their defense by 20%. Now that is really cool. That is really cool because, 20% decreased defense, it stacks with every other sort of damage escalating debuffs out there, right? So everything adds up in this game. And when we start to progress, in Raid Shadow Legends, this is the type of stuff that we're looking for. We're looking for extra damage multipliers to be stacked up. Ideally, every champion's doing a little something to give us more damage, and Xenomorph definitely has that as well. Very powerful, especially for new accounts to have these sort of damage escalators. So it might not sound like much, but hey, it has to be placed by this champion as well, but he has those poisons 3 on his A1. That's pretty solid. Let's talk about this very interesting new debuff in Infest. So I think I have to go to the actual debuff screen here. Here we go. Boom, boom. Here we go. Infest. So this is brand new to the Alien. Whenever an enemy under an Infest debuff dies, deals pure damage to all other enemies alive. Timeout, pure damage. The easiest way to think about pure damage in this game is just like the number you'd expect, basically, right? So let's read on. It will become intuitive. The pure damage is equal to 50% of the target's max HP who died while under the Infest debuff. And that pure damage cannot be critical. Pure damage dealt upon killing a boss or their minions cannot exceed 10% of their max HP. So 10% of their max HP is similar to an enemy max HP ability, cap-wise, right? But the 50%, exactly what I just said, right? You kill somebody with 100k HP, 50k damage to everybody. Super simple. You kill a Nice with 150k HP, 75k damage to everybody. That means if you land the Infest on a tankier support champion on the enemy team in the arena, and then you get the kill, anybody gets the kill on that Infest, you might be able to wipe everybody out. That's really intriguing there. I like when they add new debuffs, so this is pretty exciting for me. Let's watch some gameplay.
It attacks a single target, stunning it and placing the new Infest debuff on its unfortunate victim for 2 turns. Obviously horrified by this brutal attack, all other champions on the enemy team are stricken with True Fear for 1 turn. Should the Xenomorph be under an active Perfect Veil buff, none of these debuffs can be resisted.
167,000 damage, not bad there.
How delightful. So what does Infest do exactly? Well, if a champion dies while infested, they unleash a wave of acid on death, dealing pure damage to their fellow party members equal to...
See that 63,000 damage on the Infest? I mean, yeah, so I guess that Theodore had 150 or 120,000 or so.
50% of their max HP. Now, that's some body horror. The only saving grace is that this pure
wow, and the enemy max HP damage, I mean, that was pretty significant.
Damage cannot crit, but it'll hurt regardless. Infest can also affect bosses, but the damage from the acid explosion is capped at 10% of the boss's max HP.
So you get that big damage on everybody, then you get the, I mean, that's significant damage, right? And you get that boss damage as well, depending.
Something to keep in mind, if an enemy with the Infest debuff dies while the Xenomorph is also dead, it will immediately revive with half of its HP and turn meter. Like any true horror movie monster, death is never really the end. The Xenomorph's third skill, named Rip and Claw, leaves nothing to the imagination. It lunges at the enemy, slashing at them twice. This savage attack will also deal 15% more damage for each poison debuff the target is under. Stack up a lot of poisons, and this will deal some major damage. With its attack complete.
Okay, honestly, I would call that nice damage, but major. I mean, look at all the poisons on the dragon. He hit him for, 220 times 2. Definitely good damage, don't get me wrong, but it's not like absolutely blows me away, but it's still solid.
It slinks back into darkness, placing a perfect veil buff on itself for 2 turns.
My whole thing is I love the perfect veil synergy, but I am pretty surprised at that infest damage. Think about it. You put the infest on somebody, even if he can't kill them, just have your nuker kill them, and it's a wipe.
Gotta remember, the Xenomorph mostly comes out at night. Mostly. Should you have forgotten about the Xenomorph's wonderful defense mechanism, its Caustic Blood passive skill will serve as a swift reminder. Whenever someone manages to land a hit on the Xenomorph, there's a 25% chance of being sprayed with its acidic blood, gaining a 5% poison debuff for their trouble. This poisonous retaliation lasts for 2 turns and is irresistible if the attack was critical. That blood can melt through almost anything, so any target poisoned by the Xenomorph suffers a 20% penalty to their defense. Truly, its structural perfection is matched only by its hostility. So, you're fighting as the perfect organism. What are your tactics to deal truly frightening damage? The Xenomorph has access to powerful crowd control, thanks to Infestation. Attack while you're under Perfect Veil, and you can land 3 irresistible debuffs. While the Xenomorph is adept at placing poisons, you'll want to pair it with another poisoner to make its assault truly lethal. After all, Rip and Claw gets a 15% damage boost for each poison on a target. If you have another champion with ally attack on the team, the Xenomorph can be constantly pumping out poison debuffs via its tail stab. As such, you'll want to boost the Xenomorph's crit rate and accuracy to take full advantage of the tail stab and consistent.
So they recommend Merciless, Lethal, and Feral. Honestly, I think for most players, you probably just want to go with 100% crit rate and start out, at least for me, just with the Perception gear, If you're end game, of course, all of these sets definitely have some viability as well, right?
Land poisons. Speed and attack will be just as important too. Should the Xenomorph's HP get low, try to land an Infest debuff on the weakest enemy champion. That way, even if the Xenomorph goes down, you've got a few turns to dispatch the infested enemy and get a free Xenomorph revive. Not to mention that
the revive is pretty cool too.
That nasty little acidic surprise should keep enemy healers busy. And that's it for this champion spotlight.
All right, guys. So as I said, I'm going to have, I think, Cruisin' on to talk about Predator. We're going to max him out. We're going to try him out. But most importantly, we're going to talk about his viability. That video will be coming up in a couple hours. But overall, I'm pretty impressed by this champion in the gameplay. Is he going to be the best champion in the game? No, he's not going to be the best champion in the game. Certainly not. Is he going to be a very valuable poisoner that makes a lot of sense for a lot of new accounts out there, a lot of progression accounts out there, and even in some restrictive endgame content? Absolutely. So, guys, pretty cool IP collab. Overall, I'm a fan. Let me know what you think so far in the comments below, and I'll see you in a few hours. Much love, as always. Take care, guys.